In this video, I want to respond to a conversation I had with a student, and draw on a lot of experiences I've had with over the issue of teenagers dating, teen dating, and young adult dating. It's interesting how different families and different individuals approach dating. Sometimes it's embraced early on. It's even encouraged. Other times it's discouraged and even prohibited in some cases for some students and some people of certain ages. And all of that is good. This kind of follows along the video I did on how hard it is to be a teenager in the 21st century. The challenge is, as a 14, 13, 12, 15-year-old, you're nowhere near independent, not in this day and age. You've got 10 years, 15 years to go before you're going to be out on your own. And so early dating doesn't serve the function of preparing you to find a life mate. Because if you find someone when you're 12 years old, are you going to stick with them for the next 13 years? Now, it happens. Everybody can tell me stories about how it happens, and my this and my uncle that, and I knew this guy. And I know a couple that met when they were sophomores in high school, and they're married, and they're still married. And that was like they graduated in ages and ages ago. But what exactly is the purpose of dating? You have to answer that question. And why are you dating? Are you dating so that you won't be lonely? Are you dating for companionship? Are you dating because everyone else dates? When I worked at the college, I had an opportunity to see a lot of young adults who were really getting ready to step out and be independent adults. So they were really at age 21, 19, 22, whatever. They were really in the mode where they were trying to find a life mate. There was an attitude among those of us who led the college student body to try to get them to understand that if you're dating someone and you realize that it's not going anywhere, that the kind and right thing to do is to break it off. If you know that you're not going to spend the rest of your life with someone, then why are you spending every weekend with them? Why are you spending every weekend with them? And you have to ask that question. Now, as a 21, 22, 23-year-old, asking that question it could lead to answers like, well, I don't know anybody else, and I'd rather be with this person than be by myself. And maybe that's okay, as long as the other person knows. If you're sharing, you're honest with your opinions on that, then yeah, it's fine to say, okay, look, we know this isn't going anywhere, and therefore we're going to set these parameters around our relationship, but it's convenient and it's fun, and there's things that aren't going to work out in the long run, but in the short run, it's kind of fun, and we both acknowledge that. We know it's not going anywhere, and we're honest, and we're communicating, and we're open. And in a case like that, that's sort of well, first of all, it's a real challenge to be able to have that kind of a conversation when you're with someone, especially if the other person doesn't feel the same way. As a 14-year-old, why are you dating? You have to answer that question. Are you incomplete unless you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Are you less of a person if you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend? If you're 14 years old dating someone you know you're not going to spend the rest of your life with, what kind of boundaries do you need to put on that physical relationship? If you know right off, there is no way this is going to work out, but he/she is fun to be with, and in the long run it's not going to work out, but for now it gives me something to do I have someone to Snapchat with, I have someone to sit at lunch with, we get to hold hands in the hall, whatever. But where is it going? You have to ask yourself what boundaries you're going to put on that physical relationship as a 14-year-old, because you know it's not going anywhere. So the person who I had this conversation with is a 15-year-old who thinks that she's in a relationship with someone who it might last and it might go on. And so the conversation we had was revolved around, what happens when you find out it's not? What do you do when you realize that this is not the relationship that's going to last forever? And I encouraged her. I said, you've got to be honest with the other person. And you may say, look, I know this isn't going to work out, but it's good for now, and we'll establish these boundaries. And if you find someone else, or if I find someone else, we're going to be honest with it. We're going to have an honest conversation about all this. And if that happens, and if that's the way it plays out, then it could be a really good thing. It could be. But she understood, and she agreed that if she ever realized that the young man was not the meant to be for her life, that the only honest and correct thing to do would be to have that conversation and decide what to do. So what do you do? Why do you date as a 14-year-old? Why do you date as a 16-year-old? Why do you date as an 18-year-old? Those relationships need to fulfill some kind of purpose in your life. And it's okay if it's a relationship where you say, okay, we're not going anywhere, and so we're just doing this because it's fun in the moment. It's fun right now, and it's not going anywhere, and let's be open about it, let's be honest about it, and we set these boundaries, we set these parameters, and we go forward from there. On the other hand, you don't have to have someone. On the other hand, it's okay not being in a relationship. It's okay to say, I don't really need someone to make me feel like a whole person, and I'm not anywhere ready to be an independent adult and live on my own, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until the time comes where I'm ready to start at least thinking about the rest of my life, and at least thinking about this is going to be a permanent part of my future. And if you're not ready for that, that's fine. It's okay to not be in a relationship. It's okay to be in one. You just need to go in the situation with a clear understanding that, is this forever? Is this potentially forever? Could this be? Maybe it is. But when you find out it's not, you have to honestly deal with the fact that you know this is a short-term thing, that you know this is a temporary thing, and that that's going to call for there being certain boundaries and certain decisions made. You know, if this is a temporary thing, is it okay if I don't Snapchat you every day? Is it okay if I don't seek you out every single time we have a free class? If this is a temporary thing, it's going to last till I'm 16. It's going to last 2 years, which is like forever if you're 14. But let's say it's going to last 2 years. If it's not going to last forever, can you not put some limits on the relationship? Can you not set some boundaries? Can you not say, I have a lot of growing to do. I have a lot of changing to do. I have a lot of becoming to do. And maybe some of that changing, becoming, and growing I need to do by myself. Certainly, you want to put some physical boundaries on the relationship. You need to decide, what is appropriate, how far, how long, how whatever, and you need to put those boundaries in place that say, this is what I feel safe, and this is what I feel like giving away in a temporary relationship. This is what I feel like is acceptable. And that's a conversation that everybody's going to have at a different level, and everyone's going to come to a different point of view. And I used to work with youth in a non-academic environment, and I would tell them, when the time comes that you need to know what the limits are, it's too late to decide what the limits are. If you're in a situation where you need to know what the physical limits of the relationship are, if you're already in the situation, it's too late to decide. You need to decide that when you're standing on the side of the road waiting on the bus. You need to decide that kind of thing when you're in a situation where it doesn't matter, where you're not going to be whisked away by the hormones of the moment. Well, the iPhone fell over twice, so I guess I've talked enough about this topic. I know everybody's not necessarily going to agree with me, but I just want to wrap it up with a couple of points. Number one, you don't need to be in a relationship to be a happy, healthy, full, complete person. Relationship could be a convenient thing, it could be a fun thing, it could be a nice thing, but if you're not happy with yourself, how's anybody else going to be happy with you? Number two, you need to decide what the purpose of the relationship is. Are you marketing for a lifetime mate, or are you just got something you want to do for the next couple of years? You're looking for somebody to go to homecoming with. You need to decide what the purpose of the relationship is. The third thing is you need to decide what the boundaries of the relationship are. If this is someone you're going to spend the whole life with, then you need to work out, how much of my life are we sharing and how much of it is independent. If this is someone that you think is like a 2-year, a 2-year thing, maybe we'll make it till we're 17. Well, that'd be 3 years. Are you crazy? Well, maybe that's what's going to happen. But 3 years are going to come and 3 years are going to go. And while it seems like an awfully long time when you're 14, 3 years is a blink when you finally get to this age. So knowing that it's going to probably be, maybe it's going to be, could it be, all those kinds of questions needs to inform the boundaries you're going to put on the relationship. Number 4, when you get to a certain point and you know that it's not going to be the once and for all, lifetime forever, once you get to the point that you know that this is a temporary relationship, you need to be honest with the other person. And you need to decide what you're going to do. Okay, so we're on the same bowling league. We're going to, no, who's on a bowling league? Whatever. Well, anyway, you decide together. How are we going to go forward? Are we going to continue to go out on dates? Are we going to continue to visit each other at each other's houses? Are we going to continue to whatever? You need to make that decision. What the future is going to look like. If one of you is still looking for the mate in the relationship and the other is not, now you're in a situation where it could be very, very confusing, very, very iffy. So you got to decide, how to have that frank, open, honest conversation. That's the only kind, loving thing to do. And let's say you do care for this person, but you realize it's not going to last forever. The more you care about them, the more you need to be honest and say, here's the thing. I can't go on forever like this. I can't go on, this is just, we're going in different directions, and we happen to be in the same place right now, but in the long run, this is not going to work out. So, do you want to keep dating, or do you want to call it off? Because every day that you spend with the wrong person is a day you don't spend looking for the right person. I've said about a million things, and a lot of things are really true, a lot of things are really powerful, a lot of things are like, life-changing. I honestly believe some of the things in this conversation are life-changing. The problem is to organize it. I'm sitting here talking to cameras in the Tahoe. To organize it, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And I'm afraid this video is going to run long. If it does, it does. But if you're still watching, this is the end. And I want to thank you for watching. I hope that something in here maybe provoked a thought. If you like the video, please click the like button, and perhaps you want to consider subscribing to the channel. But this is one of the videos where I'm trying to be a little bit serious and try to offer some advice from the position of being 55 years old and having worked with young people and teenagers for literally since I was 17. So a lot of perspective on this, and I hope it's valuable. I hope it's something worth sharing. So subscribe, click the like button, and hopefully you'll think about these things and maybe come up with your own answers. Thanks for watching.